let's suppose we have ourselves a car loan. But before we even do that, let's go ahead and let's name our spreadsheet. And let's call this car loan, move this out of the way, amortization table. Amortization just means that the payments and the balance is going to be decreasing over time. It's the same thing that we talked about yet. It's a monthly payment allocation table, but the technical term for it is an amortization table. All right, that's our title. And then let's head to cell B2 right here. And we're going to call this loan amount. Loan amount. Hit enter. After that, underneath, we're going to go to cell B3, and we're going to type in interest rate. We're just typing in the things that we need, the names of the things that we need. And then let's go with years for this next one. All right, then for the loan amount, let's say that our loan amount is for $30,000. So get your dollar sign, type in 30,000. The interest rate. Let's say our interest rate is 3%. So type in 3, then type in percent. Before we go any further, though, interest rates are usually calculated to the nearest hundredth. Even though we're going with a straight 3% interest rate, we do want to have a couple of decimals here. So if you go up above, you'll see this little increase decimal places button. Push that one twice, and then you'll get 3.00. All right, and then a standard number of years for a car loan is like 5 years. So we'll just say 5. It might. If you try it, it might just default to 3 because it's a whole number. But if it does include the zeros, great. If not, you can always increase the decimals up here on this list. All right. Then we're going to skip a column, and then we're going to go to cell E2. All right. And actually, we're going to go with our let's see. Actually, right underneath here, now I'm going to say years is 5. We do have to account for the fact that, let's just say number of payments for this one here. Number of payments. And you might notice that when you type in number of payments, it actually kind of goes over the line that is coming down from column B, this line here. So if you want to match it up, the easiest way to do that to make sure that this column B is wide enough, so like right here, it's kind of cutting through it. You want to make that wide enough. If you go to the top, you can drag it over yourself. If you highlight it, it's going to have the little 2 arrows with a line in between it. You can drag it over yourself, or you can just double click once you get to here. And if you double click, it'll automatically make it exactly as wide as it needs to be. So you could, yeah, that's fine. We're just kind of setting things up at this point. So yeah, you can write it kind of however you want to. And so the number of payments is going to be, this is where we're going to end up making this a lot easier for ourselves if we change value. So we know there are going to be, how many payments are there going to be total? Anybody know? Over 5 years if you pay monthly? $60, yeah. 5 years times 12 payments a year is 60 payments. Now, I don't want you to type in 60 here. Yeah. This is where Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel can be a really powerful tool is that you are allowed to reference other cells. That way, if you change other cells, your answers will automatically change. So I want you to type in equals. We're going to enter a little bit of a formula here. We're going to set this equal to the number of years. So I want you to click on the cell that has 5 in it. So just click, and it's going to say C4, because the number in cell C4 is what it's referencing. And then we're going to type in times, which is the star button above 8. So times is the star button above 8, and then 12. And it's going to say 60, which is exactly the number we need. However, if we go back to our years cell and we change our value, if you go up to the top here where it says FX, there's a little 5 in there. Let's say we end up with an 8-year loan. If you delete the 5 and you type in 8, the number of payments will automatically update, and now it's 96. So changing that number will automatically change the number of payments, which is going to make things a lot easier moving forward. So we're just going to head back here. We're going to change that 8 back to a 5. And it'll go back down to 60. That way you only have to change that one number. Yeah. How do we make this change on its own? Okay, so go to this cell here, type equals. So I'll restart it. I'll delete, type equals, and then click the cell that has the 5 in it. And it should say C4. Yeah? Okay, and then shift 8 for multiplication. So shift 8 is multiplication. That's the star multiplication symbol. And then type in 12 because it's going to be 12 months for the number of years, and then just hit enter. And it should give you 60. All right. Now, here's where things are going to get a little bit more complicated. We have to type in our equation for our monthly payment. So right here, I want you to type in monthly payment. So it doesn't really matter where this gets typed in. I'm putting it in cell E2 just to give us a little bit of space. And we're going to type in a formula for the monthly payment. Now, yes, Excel has a monthly payment function built into it, but I'd rather type it in the way that we know how to do it. So we're going to type it in kind of like how we typed it into our calculators. But before we do that, I just want to make sure that this cell is wide enough. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to double click, and that'll make that just a little bit wider to accommodate for both words monthly payments. All right. Once we get to that, go to cell F2. And what we're going to do here is we are going to type in our monthly payment formula. That was that capital M equals P and then parentheses R over 12 parentheses 1 plus R over 12 to the number of total payments over parentheses 1 plus R over 12 total number of payments minus 1. That's what we're going to be typing in here, which is going to be really cool when we go with what we're doing, because we're going to be able to reference other cells, and it's going to work out really cool. So type equals. Type in equals because we're going to write a formula. Now on our numerator, we're going to have, we need to isolate our numerator, make a group out of our numerator. So the first thing we're going to do is open up a set of parentheses. Within that set of parentheses, the first number that we always use is the principal amount of the loan. So we're not going to type in 30,000. We're going to go over here. We're going to click 30,000. C2. Then we're going to open up another set of parentheses. We're going to put the rate divided by 12. So parentheses, the rate, click the rate, C3. And then the division button is the same as the question mark button, just don't hit shift. Divide, and then 12. And then close that set of parentheses. I'll go and wait here for a second. Any questions about where we're at? Okay. By the way, you don't have to click in order to get this in here. You can literally type in capital C2 and then capital C3. That's fine too. You can type those in. You don't have to click. All right, then we're going to do another set of parentheses. This time we're going to type in 1 plus And because we're having to write fractions, and this one doesn't really show fractions the way we need to, we actually need to do another set of parentheses here. So 1 plus parentheses. And then instead of clicking the interest rate on C3, you could just type in capital C3, just like that. That's fine. You can click it or you can type it. And then we're going to divide by 12. We're going to close that set of parentheses. And we're going to close the set of parentheses around the 1. So we're going to do a double set of parentheses there. Then this needs to be raised to the power of how many payments we're making. So to do a power, you're going to hit Shift and then 6. And it's going to do the little, it's like the exponent button on your calculator, right? Now, the number of payments is 60. Don't type in 60. I want you to reference the cell that has the 60 in it. So click on that cell, C5. And then close that set of parentheses. So we should have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that means we should have 4 closed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So however many open sets of parentheses you have facing this way, you need that many over there to create your group. This is the numerator of our function where we have, I'll write this off to the side. Right now we are writing this equation. P R over 12, 1 plus R over 12, and the number of payments over 1 plus R over 12, to the number of payments minus 1. So right now, we have the numerator. Okay, that's where we're at the moment. Now, we need to do the denominator. So, hit the division button. Open up a new set of parentheses for the entire denominator. So what we're going to end up looking at is, go ahead and put all of the sets of parentheses in here that we need. So on the denominator, or on the numerator, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 open, and 1, 2, 3, 4 closed. On the denominator, we're going to end up with 1, 2, 3 open, and we're going to have 1, 2, 3 to close. So fewer sets of parentheses on the denominator by 1. So we are going to open up. Basically, we're going to need parentheses and then parentheses. So double parentheses here. If you just look at that formula I wrote, you got the red one, you got the black one, double. 1 plus, here comes our third set of parentheses. We need our rate, which is cell C3. You can either click C3 or type C3. I'm going to click it this time, C3. And that's going to go over 12, so divide by 12. And then we have to close 2 sets of parentheses. And then open up an exponent. And then we're going to reference the number of payments again. So you can either type in C5 or click on cell C5. And then we type -1. And we're going to close our set of parentheses. And that is our equation. Hopefully, when you click enter, it's going to give you, mine didn't work either. Okay. So let's see, invalid call to non-function. It didn't like something here. So what is it not liking? Let's see, C2, actually, yeah. So C2, oh, you know what we need? We need to hit times after C2. So after C2, just go back to C2 and hit times. That might change it to have, no, we're still not there. Okay. I think anytime we multiply, we might actually need to use the multiplication button. So in between these 2 parentheses, then let's go ahead and hit times. And I think that's it. Okay. That hopefully takes care of it. Anytime you multiply, I guess it doesn't automatically interpret things right up against each other as multiplication. So add multiplication after C2, and then add multiplication in between those 2 sets of parentheses. I think we'll be okay after that. There we go. Excellent. Now, we do want dollars and cents here. So is anybody not getting 539 right now? Do we have 539? We good with 539 here for monthly payment? Yeah, cool. Okay. So let's go ahead and increase our decimals by how many decimals do we need if we're talking about dollars? We need 2 of them. All right. So head back up here, increase decimal places by 2. So the payment's actually $539.06 a month. Okay. Now what's really cool about this, does anybody not have 539.06 when they expand their decimals? We good? Or do you not have it? Oh, so then just click on this cell, go back up to here where it says increase decimal places, push it twice. And it should end up saying 0.06 when you increase it by 2. Cool. All right. Now, what's really cool about this is before we build out the rest of the table, let's say that the loan amount was for 20,000 instead of 30,000. So delete that and type in 20,000 instead. Everything will change, including the monthly payment. And now it's $359.37. We don't have to recalculate it every time. So the setup takes a little bit of time. But now that we have our setup done, we could change our interest rate to 1.09%. And that will also reduce that amount down to 342, just like that. You could change the number of years. $20,000 loan, 1.09% for 6 years, $287.09 is your monthly payment. So that's a really cool thing about using this program is that if you end up getting the equations written in and you reference other cells as opposed to typing in actual numbers, you can change these numbers here and everything else will automatically update. It's fantastic. All right, so let's go back to $30,000 if you change this. So 30,000, we're going to go to 3% and 5 years. Back to 539.06. All right. So we got our monthly payment going on.
You decreased to 20,000.
Yeah.
But then it increased the amount of monthly payment.
No. It went down to 3 something.
Oh,
Yeah, 359. Yeah. No, you're good. So 30,000. So it's really nice not having to go back to the calculator and type in that entire equation over and over and over and over. So far, we haven't even set up the table that we talked about yesterday, right? The monthly allocation. So that's what we need to do next. But in order to do that monthly allocation, we have to have the monthly payment. So I'm going to go to erase this. I think we've all got everything typed in that we need. All right. This is where it starts to get really cool. Okay. Let's go down to cell B7 right here. It's like we're playing Battleship with math. All right. So let's just type in periods. So the number of periods for payments. And hit enter. Go to the one next to it. We're basically just setting up this table here. It says payment number on here, but we're going to go with period. That's fine. You could type in payment number if you want to as well. Actually, you know what? Let's just change it to payment number because that's what we talked about yesterday. Payment. So, payment number. All right, we'll do that. And we're going to go over here. What's the next one? Next one is monthly payment, according to what our schedule said yesterday. Monthly payment. Let me go over. Actually, I'm going to increase that one just a little bit to make sure that it fits. Then we go over, and then it's amount for interest. Okay. That width correct. Next one is amount for principal. That fit. And then we've got, I know it says new principal, but I would rather say loan balance because that just tells us how much we owe. All right. Now there's all kinds of things you can do in terms of like highlighting stuff with colors and all kinds of cool things. But we'll go ahead and actually, I am going to go ahead and go here to monthly payment. And I'm going to fill in these cells. Actually, first of all, let's go ahead and make this bold. So you can go up here and you can click bold, or you can just type in Control B for bold. But that number there is a big deal. Your monthly payment is a large value that you need to know when you're dealing with this. And then let's go ahead and fill in both of these cells yellow. So up where it's near bold, if you scroll to the right, 3 of them, that's text color. But if you go one more, it's fill color. And the fill color fills in the color of the cells outside of the writing. So if we drop it down, we got all kinds of colors here. I'm going to go with yellow. And then that's filled in with yellows. And then your eye is naturally drawn to the monthly payment because it's bright yellow. That just makes it obvious what we're looking at. The other thing I want to do is go ahead and click on payment number and hold down your mouse and drag over to highlight all of those cells right there. Payment number, monthly payment, amount for interest, amount for principal, and loan balance. They should be highlighted in light blue. And then go to the top and click on B for bold. Just make those nice and bold. Because these are our headings for each of our columns here. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust the widths again because that boldness ended up increasing the width of a few of my columns. And so there we go. Everything looks good there. Now, another thing that we should probably do to get things set up here, this is all just kind of like housekeeping stuff within the program because it makes it look pretty. It also makes it easier to read. Making it look nice is definitely a good thing. The nicer it looks, the more professional it looks, but it also makes it easier to read. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight those same words that we just highlighted before. And we're going to go ahead and add a line underneath it. We're going to put a dark line underneath it. So what I'd like you to do now is go to right here where it says borders. If you can see, it's right next to the fill color. Go next to it where it says borders. Click on that button. And then scroll over here to where it says bottom border. And then click that button. And that'll put a dark line underneath all those. So it looks like a nice heading, right? Okay. So we're going to end up putting some other borders in here as well, but we'll go ahead and kind of keep it where it's at for the moment. So how many payments are we going to have total here? 60 payments. Okay. So payment number, this is going to be a long list. We're going to go all the way from 0 to 60. We are going to use 0, by the way, because 0 is before we make any payments. If we haven't made any payments, the loan balance is going to be $30,000. So we have to have 0 for payment number. So we're going to type in, go underneath payment number, type in 0, and then hit enter. Type in 1, hit enter. Type in 2, hit enter. And don't keep going with it. Just type in 0, 1, and 2 because this program is pretty smart. It understands what we're doing. So once you type in 0, 1, and 2, highlight those 3 cells. So hold down and highlight those 3. And then you'll notice this little blue, dark blue, kind of square circle looking thing here. If you click on that, there's a little plus sign that comes up with it. If you click right there and hold down, if you drag it all the way down, let's see, we're going to need to go to column, let's just go all the way down to 70. So if you look on the left, you'll see the numbers. Go all the way down to 70, hold it down, and make it go all the way down to 70. And then when you let go, we've got all the numbers we need. Now we only need to go to 60. So I'm actually going to go back here and I'm going to hold this down again and just bring it up a couple. Actually, I can just go ahead and delete. Highlight it, delete, scroll up, highlight, and then delete. So all the way down to 60. So we only needed to go to 68, which is fine. But it automatically detected what we were doing, so we don't have to type all of them in. It just did all the numbers for us. Any questions on that? Getting those numbers to auto-populate? Okay. Has anybody done this before in Google Sheets at all? Yeah, okay. Guessing some people have, probably a lot of people have it. But here we go. Those are all of our months right there. Month 0 through 60. Month 0 is before we start paying. Month 1 is the first payment. All right. Now, monthly payments. Do you think we're going to type in 539.06? No. We're going to reference the monthly payment cell. So I want you to hit equals. Hit equals. and then go click on 539.06, cell F2, and then hit enter. And look at that, wouldn't you know it, there's a suggested autofill. It's saying, hey, I think you're going to use this same number all the way down to the end of the loan amount, and that's true. So click the green check mark. It should. It's not, but never mind. Delete. All right. Let's see if we do it this way. No, that's not working either. All right. So let's hit equals again on cell C10. And let's go to 539.06 again, hit enter. All right, now, I think if we highlight both of these, Sheets works a little bit differently than Excel. I'm used to Excel, but if we go ahead and drag this down, if we highlight both of them, it's still not doing it. That's weird. I don't know why. Why is it not doing that? Equals F4, equals F4, F6. Oh, okay. Got it. So here's what we can do with this one. Notice if you scroll down a little bit, this says equals F2 up at the top there, and then F2 again, and then it says F4. So it thinks there's other numbers over there that are going to keep going down, but there aren't. So go back up here, highlight this one here. Don't click on it, but just, or you can click on it, but don't double click on it. Leave it there. And then, do you have the F buttons on your calculator, like F2, F3, F4, all that kind of stuff? You don't have those on yours? Because I think if you type in F4, is that right? Doesn't like that either. I'm going to give this a try then. I'm just going to do something a little bit different on my computer here just to make sure I'm doing this correctly. If I do that and then scroll down like this, is that? Yeah, okay, cool. That worked. So basically what we want to do is we want to tell it, hey, don't change this number, because these ones were like, hey, I think you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this one's also thinking, hey, I think you're going to use this cell and then that one and that one and that one and that one and that one. But we don't want to use all these numbers. We just want to use that number. So basically, to tell the program, don't change this number, but I want that same number all the way down. I'm going to double click on this one again, so you can see it a little bit bigger. Put a $ in front of the F, and then F, and then a $ in front of the 2, and then the 2. That basically is saying, hey, lock in this number for all the way down. So use that $ feature. Then you can take just row C9 and then go to your little plus sign in the bottom right corner, drag it all the way down to the bottom. And that should end up giving your monthly payment number the same all the way down. Okay, that's what we want from that one. Because that number shouldn't change because it's your monthly payment. That's the same amount you're going to pay every single month. All right, got that. Now, let's go here, the amount for interest. Yeah. Oh, what do we type in? So it was a $ F and then $2. As long as your monthly payment is in cell F2, if it's not in cell F2, it's $ whatever letter, $ whatever number. The $ lock in that particular cell, and then you can drag it all the way down. All right. So the amount for interest, this is what we were talking about yesterday. This is the lesson that we did yesterday. So we're going to hit equals. We're going to write another equation here, equals. This is our monthly payment amount, right? So we take the monthly, actually we don't take the monthly payment out. We take, what do we take? Take the loan balance, don't we? For this one? To get our interest. So that means we actually need to go over here first. So hit escape. We need to type in the loan balance. We don't need to type it in. We're going to hit equals and we're going to reference the loan balance right here. So hit equals, get your loan balance, hit enter. No, we do not want the autofill. X, not what we want. So we want $30,000 here for the initial loan balance. And then here for the interest, we're going to use the formula that we talked about yesterday. We're going to hit equals. This is the amount of the loan, 30,000. So reference that cell, multiplied by the interest rate, which is 3%. And then we're going to multiply that by however much of a year we're talking about, which in this case, because it's always going to be 1/12, we can just type in parentheses, rather, 1/12, like that. So F8 times C3 times parentheses 1 divided by 12. Hit enter. What do you get? 75. Exactly. That is what we want. Now we're going to go for the amount for principal. So this is going to be equals. This is where we take our monthly payment and we subtract the amount for interest. So equals C9 minus D9, which means that we've got $464.06 going towards the principal. Here, we need how much is left on the loan. So hit equals, take the loan balance we had before, subtract the amount that's putting towards the principal. This is the exact math we did yesterday. We're just doing it on the computer today. Hit enter. There's the remaining balance. $29,536. And actually, let's highlight both of these and let's increase this a couple of decimal places because we need to make sure that we have the cents on there as well. All right. Now that we have everything here that we need, we're going to do this one more time just to let the program know, get a sense for what we're doing. So now we're going to hit equals the loan balance times. So we're referencing this loan balance now because it's decreasing a little bit. Now we're going to multiply this by the interest rate, which is 3%. And then we're going to multiply this by parentheses 1/12. $73.84. This one here? Yeah, it was the same as the one above it. So we take the balance, the new balance, right? The total balance that we have remaining, multiply it by the interest rate, which is up here, click that cell, and then multiply that by 1/12. So it's the remaining balance times the interest rate times 1 out of 12 months. All right. Then we're going to head back to the amount for principal. We're going to hit equals. We're going to take the monthly payment and subtract the amount for the interest. So the amount towards the principal is now $465.22. Then we're going to go to our loan balance. We're going to hit equals. We're going to select the previous loan amount, the remaining balance, and subtract the amount that we applied to the principal, which is the cell right next to it, E10, and then hit enter. All right. Now, yes. Right here? Oh, this one here, you mean? So that's going to be the number above it. So equals the number above it, click on that cell, and then subtract the amount towards the principal that's next to it. And that gives you what's left. All right. So now let's go ahead and take 7384, this button right here, and let's just drag it down a few cells to see if it ends up doing what we want it to do. And it doesn't, and there's a reason for that. It's because we are referencing the interest rate value here, but it keeps dragging down these numbers, and we don't want the rest of those numbers, so we have to use our $ feature to make this one work. So I'm just going to go back to up here, and I'm going to click undo. It'll undo that. All right. So in this cell here, where we have C3, okay, C3 is the interest rate. We don't want that number changing ever. So in front of C, type in a $, and in between C and 3, type in another $. And then hit enter. And then in 7374, double click. In front of C, type in a $. In front of 3, or in between C and 3, type in a $. Hit enter. So this one, as we keep going, we're going to end up, yeah, that's going to end up being okay. We're not going to do that yet, though, so cancel that for a second. This number here is always going to reference that. That one's there. Okay, that's always going to reference that. So I think what we can do now, I think this will work. If you highlight 73, 74, 465, 22, and the $29,070.72, highlight all three of those. And let's go over to the far right here, and let's try to drag down just a few cells to see what happens. Hopefully, yeah, look at that. It all fills in automatically with the things that we need. So what we can do is we can just continue dragging this with all three of them highlighted all the way down to 60. And that should fill in all 5 years of the loan all the way until we get to a balance of 0.
Yeah, I had some point along I made a mistake.
Okay.
Telling me that all the values are increasing,
Weird.
things like a thousand.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I did this one, basically, right? Yeah. And I highlighted the back of that.
Interesting. All right, so we got F9, C. Okay, so this one here, yeah, this is where we need to have a $ in front of C3 and in front of C, and a $ in between here. And then same thing here. All right, now drag over. Hold on. Let's do that. There we go. Cool. You can just keep going all the way to the bottom. All right. So this is what we end up with. Here's our table with all 60 months of payments. You can see how much is going to the principal, how much is going to interest, all the way until we get down to $0 left. Yeah, Kate. Where at? Right here? Yeah. Okay, so right here. So the equation for that is F9 times, and then the key to this one is making sure we have the $ here, because if you don't have the $ with this cell here, it's going to take the cells underneath it, which we don't want. We don't want it to take the 5 or the 60. We want to keep that at 3% the whole way. So do the $, and then once you do that, it should be good to go. So if you hit enter from there, and you drag across and you highlight all three of these numbers, they should highlight them all in blue. And then you have your little plus down here, and you drag down, then it should operate the way it needs to operate. Yeah, cool. So let's try something different. Let's go to a different loan amount. Somebody give me a different loan amount. 15,000, okay. Now, when you type in 15,000 here, everything will change. So the loan amount changed to 15,000, everything on the entire table is going to change. Look at that. Once you have that, everything changes, everything updates automatically. The original loan balance, it all goes to what it needs to be. Let's say we've got an interest rate now of 4.65. So 4.65%, that will also change everything. Everything automatically updates because we built this table so that if you just change whatever you want here, let's say it's a 4-year loan, change 5 to 4. That will increase our monthly payments, but it'll reduce the amount of overall interest that we're having to pay. Cool. Let's take this a little bit further now. You ready? Let's think about a mortgage for a second. How many years is a standard mortgage? 30. So for years, go to 30, which means 360 payments. So we're going to end up changing a lot when we get down a little bit further. Now, right now, let's see, what is the average right now for mortgage interest? Where is my mouse? There it is. Okay. I'm gonna look up actually, I'll just look it up on my phone. Average mortgage interest rate right now, or actually, how about this? Best mortgage rates right now. Yeah. So right now, the best interest rate you can get on a mortgage is, well, gosh, this is annoying. I don't want to answer questions. Leave me alone. I just want to look up numbers. Let's see. Best rates. Come on now, don't make me fill out info. So irritating. Okay. Oh my gosh. Where is NerdWallet? There we go. NerdWallet's going to be the best. All right. Best interest rate right now, 6.625 is about what I can find. That's high. Okay. 6.625. So we're actually going to have to increase our interest rate by 1 decimal place. And we're going to type in 6.625%. All right. And we're going with 30 years, 360 total payments. And how much do you think a loan is going to be for a house right now? Let's say, actually, let's add a column right up here. Let's call this purchase price. And let's say, I don't know, let's say it's a $400,000 home. Okay. So 400,000. And the loan amount, let's hit delete in the loan amount. And look at that, everything goes to 0. Hit equals. Let's reference the purchase price. And then does anybody know how much people put down on a home, like the standard for putting like a down payment on a home, percentage-wise? If people have the cash, they usually try to put 20% down on a home, which means that the loan is for 80% of the cost of the purchase price. So 400,000 times 0.8, you got it, times 0.8. Okay, so we're gonna do that. So that's a $320,000 loan. And you can see everything automatically updates. It gives us a monthly payment of $2,049. And then you can see we've got our amortization table right here. Now, the issue is we don't have enough months on our payment right now. We've got 60 out of 360. So we need 300 more payments. So we're going to head on down to the bottom here, because once we get to 60, we've only paid off about $20,000 of that loan. That's not enough. So let's highlight all of these. And I think we can just keep going with this. So let's go all the way down to 368 on the left, because we're at 68 now. We need 300 more. So let's grab these and go all the way down to 368. Right here. There it is. It keeps saying 60 though, so that's not awesome, but we can change that easily. Everything else looks good though. We're reducing the amount. Everything's going down the way it should. That looks great. Okay. So if we change, we just need to change some values. Let's see. Let's type in 61, 62. Let's highlight like 4 of these. That way we can tell it, hey, I want these to go up by 1 each time. We didn't really let it know that last time. So I'm just going to only select the payment number and head on down to number 368. So we're almost there. All right, getting close. And there it is. Okay, there it is, 360. Cool. So we updated those. And you can see that the final payment for the mortgage is 30 years later, still a $2,049 payment. The final payment, though, has $11.25 of interest. and $2,037.75 towards the principal, which ends up zeroing out the loan altogether. Now, if you go back to the beginning of this payment and you look at the interest versus the principal, look how much you're actually paying off of the loan on that first payment. You're only paying $282.33 from the loan amount from that $2,049 payment. Only $282 of that payment is going to reducing the principal amount. Which is why it's often suggested that if you can make what's called an extra payment on a mortgage, it's a good idea to do that, because an extra payment is entirely pays down the principal. No interest if you make an extra payment. So like if you write $1,000 check on top of the $2,049, that extra $1,000 will 100% reduce the loan balance because none of that is towards interest. The only thing that goes towards interest is your regular monthly payment. But if we scroll down, it's going to take a while before the payment towards the interest and the payment towards the principal ends up being about the same and actually gets overtaken. So it is right here. The 236th payment is when you finally are paying more towards the principal than you are towards interest. Which is that's well past half of the life of the loan, right? Because if you're making 360 payments, what's halfway on that? 360 divided by 2 would be 180. So that's like 56 months past 180. So that's almost 5 years. So we're looking at like 20 years into the mortgage-ish until you can actually make more towards your principal than towards the interest on your monthly payments. So it's a lot in interest, by the way. And actually, if we calculate, here's something fun. You ready? Go ahead and highlight the amount for interest column, drag it all the way down. Let's find out how much interest we're paying on this loan. Yeah. So highlight that. And actually, what is that? 368? Tell you what. We started on, don't worry about dragging those. Let's see. Started on 9. So we're going from 9 to 368. So let's type in. Okay, ready? There's a sum function on here. Type in equals. Type in the word sum. And parentheses. And it's actually automatically saying, hey, this is my suggestion for you. Add up D8 through D368, and that's actually what we want. This is hit tab to accept, so just hit tab. That number right there, that's not how much money you paid on your loan in total. That's how much money you paid in interest on that loan. The loan was for $320,000. In interest alone, you've paid $417,000. So the interest exceeds the value of the loan in the first place. If we figure out the total amount that you've spent on the loan, equal sum, parentheses, tab, you have spent $737,638.23 for a $320,000 loan. You've more than doubled the value of that loan in your payments over the 30 years. Now, the hope is that your house value is outpacing the value of the mortgage that you're paying, because you'll still end up on top that way. But that's a lot of money to spend for borrowing $320,000. Takes a long time to pay off a mortgage. Doesn't mean it's a bad investment. Houses are generally really good investments, but just know that you end up paying this number here. What should that number equal? Amount towards the principal. What was the original principal of the loan? 320. So this should equal 320,000 for the amount towards the principal. And sure enough, it's exactly $320,000. So if you add the 320 and the 417, 638.23, that's the total amount that you paid on that loan. You paid that much towards interest, so you paid more for interest than you have on the principal. That is not uncommon for home loans. However, if you go back a few years in terms of interest rates were below 3% a handful of years ago. So if we change this to like 2.8, for example, let's see what happens with those numbers. First of all, the interest gets cut down a lot. In fact, if we go to the bottom now, it's $153,000 in interest, which is less than half the value of the loan at the beginning. So you're paying a whole lot less money. This is what interest rates can do. That's a big difference. That's a $300,000 difference essentially in the amount of money that you're paying for the same house over the same amount of time with a different interest rate. So keep that in mind if and when you take a loan. Interest rates really matter, especially for long-term loans. So we'll go ahead and stop there for today.